How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Games Over Explained. Today we're going to be playing The Wandering Village. This is a demo on Steam. It's kind of like a city builder, but you'll see some of the differences once we get in here. All right, so we are officially in The Wandering Village. So the point of this game is obviously it's a city builder, but the big twist is that you're on the back of a giant monster. His name is Onbu. He's adorable, and I'm a huge fan of his. So, part of our responsibilities while we're building our city is to also care for Onbu. You can see here that he has a poison level that we have to manage, as well as hunger and sleepiness. He will take actions of his own volition with sleepiness and somewhat with hunger. You'll see a little more of that once we get into the full map. So currently we don't have anything in our trail, but he basically just walks along this path until we create some upgrades to be able to control him a little more and guide him where we want him to go. So the first thing we really need to do is go ahead and get some housing put up. So we can start with tents, and each one of these tents will provide housing for up to 2 villagers. So we do need to build 8 of these to start with, so let's do that. All right, and now that our tents are en route, I'm gonna go ahead and have them start building them and unpause. The other thing we need to start doing is tearing down some trees to be able to gather some additional wood. As you can see, these flags tell us that we don't have enough resources to finish constructing these, so we are going to have to go ahead and put in that request. We also need to probably start thinking about food. We do start with a very modest amount of food. As you can see here, there's a lot of berries. It's like a typical, survival type game where as we go on, there's going to be more options for food and creating resources. So we don't have to rely on just consuming straight off of Onbu's back forever. But we do need to do that now. As you can see, there's like a dot matrix around the berry gathering hut. That just tells us their effective range. We are going to put this here. I think that might be, maybe we bump it over. Let's see. Yeah, here's good. We'll just place it here. That'll also give us an opportunity to clear these rocks. These little balloon type flags tell us that they've been marked for demolition. So we'll go ahead and get that done. Once their housing is built, the next major thing that we probably need to go ahead and look at is getting either a farm or an air well down. Farms will let us kind of control our own destiny in terms of planting food. However, we do need water to be able to plant crops. In this game, you're not using water to drink. I guess we get our water through the food that we consume, but instead the water is going to be used for actually farming. So let's go ahead and work backwards from here. We'll go ahead and build our air well out, and that's just going to take water out of the atmosphere and put it in the air well. And of course, we spawned in a desert, which isn't exactly the best environment. The air well will be affected by what biome we're currently in. So hopefully he'll wake up. I see grasslands out here, and then that's mountain over there. We can also build a scavenger hut to be able to interact with the map a little more, but we'll get to that once we get to that point. So they are going to go ahead and essentially we just need to start farming some of these resources out of here. Currently, they're all just kind of standing around staring at me because they don't have enough to do. So there's not a lot we can do about that outside of giving them more to do. So let's go ahead and drop our farm over here. And this should just get it out of town a little bit and give us an opportunity to clear some more trees, which we are going to need to do for the foreseeable future. And you can see there's these giant stumps too. Those are eligible for us to use in the future, but we're not going to be able to do that right now because we don't have the resources to do it. The next thing I want to go ahead and do is grab our dirt road and just bring one across here. The dirt roads are helpful for being able to speed up the traversal time of the villagers or settlers, whatever we want to call them. And so they are going to build those. They're free of cost, at least the dirt ones are, and it lets them move a little faster than they would otherwise. So it's well worth our investment. The next thing I want to go ahead and slap down is a material storage. Currently, everything's just sitting on the ground. There isn't decay as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it just sits on the ground, but I want to go ahead and do that just to make sure that we're organized and everything's actually put together well. It says we don't have enough resources, so we just need more wood and stone. As per usual, the early game in this game is really, really heavy and reliant on taking down resources, and it's kind of a race against time because they will auto-gen back, but it's very slow. So you kind of have to move pretty swiftly to be able to actually keep up with the demands of keeping the settlement alive. So this is our air well. I do want to put our water tank next to that. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll also put a research building. However, I put it too far back. I want that right up against the path. We're just going to keep building our path across like that. And then the farm is right there. We're going to do most of our farming over on this side. We may end up actually moving it a little farther out. The problem with moving it too far is that they do have to walk to it. And, you know, if you build dirt paths, you have the risk of destroying resources. So actually, yeah, no, we'll leave it there for now. We're not going to be able to produce a ton of food in the early game, but we are, however, going to need a pantry. So we can go ahead and add that in over here. You'll notice that there's two different colors of soil here on Onbu's back. I can zoom out so you can really see it. There's the dark dirt soil, and then there's the green grass soil. Dark soil is used for the mycologist who can grow mushrooms on the back of Onbu, and then we can turn that into food for Onbu. As you can see, his hunger is creeping up slowly, but we are going to have to keep an eye on that, try to manage it to the best of our ability. So what are we out of right now? Both stone and rock, or stone and wood. Stone and rock are the same thing. So let's go ahead and commit some deforestation, which is a time-honored tradition of Games Over Explained. Just commit heavy deforestation early on and go from there. We do really need this done, so I'm going to set this high priority just so we can get some food flowing back in, because they are going to consume the food very rapidly, and I just want to make sure that we're actually prepped and able to handle that situation when we get there. We're only missing a single stone over here for the farm, so I'm going to go ahead and have them come through and wipe out some of this stone as well. And that's just going to give us a little bit of a backstock. We have enough stuff out right now that I actually don't even think it's going to get backstocked. I think we're just going to end up consuming all of this. Go ahead and cut that tree down. I don't think we need it. Oh, Onbu's waking up from his nap. So now we get to watch him wake up. And then, like I said, after he's up on his feet, he will just continue to walk down the path. And the cool thing about this game is that the individual biomes do interact, like I was mentioning, with the water. But it also affects more than just our water supply. It'll also stunt the ability of crops to grow, among some other things. So it's really interesting how they've built this out, that you're in an ever-changing environment. As you play, different things are going to continue to happen. It's very interesting. Let's go ahead and get back to it. I'm going to go ahead and hit fast forward just to let them catch up on some of this work, and then I will keep an eye on our supplies generally. Yep, so the berry gatherer is done. They'll be able to start harvesting these berries. There's not a lot of them. It's nothing to really, take home with us, but when we combine it with the farm, it should be pretty effective. We still need to build we built our pantry already, so we're good on that. The next big thing that we probably want to build once we get caught up is the research building, because that's going to allow us to continue to develop new technologies to use in the future. So let's go ahead and plop that over here next to the pantry. And I'm going to let them get caught up here because I've kind of asked them to build a lot, and I need to make sure that we actually have enough resources. Yeah, see, right now the air well's not even working because we're in the wrong biome for it. So we'll just have to wait till Onbu manages to get us out of that biome. It does look like we're heading towards a jungle, which is good. That means that we're not going to have to worry about arid air anymore, and we'll be able to kind of produce as normal. So the farm is done. That gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about farming. As you can see here, we have plant beet. That's all we have unlocked currently. There are other crops that you can grow in the future, but this is all we have to work with currently. So that's what we're going to work with. In this menu, you can disable the entire building entirely, or you can deconstruct it. And then over here, it's going to tell you that, if there's an issue or something along those lines. In this case, it's that we don't have any plot assigned. So I am going to add a plot right there. And we're also going to do one here. And those two should just give us the opportunity to start planting some beets. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in there and just get that whole corner going. I really love the art style of this game. We do get to go ahead and choose our first research topic because they finished the research hut. And so we'll go through this real quick. The hornblower is a really important key because it allows us to issue commands to Onbu. Now, Onbu can choose not to listen to us depending on how much he trusts us. And there's different things you can do to build trust or break trust with Onbu. You can also build a hut. Hut is just going to let us increase the quality of housing that we offer, as well as how many people can stay per house. So this one allows 6 versus our tents doing 2. Or we can make a kitchen, which will help us process berries and beets and Onbu blood if we choose to pull blood out of Onbu into processed food. So I'm going to start with the kitchen because the kitchen actually makes your food go a really, really long way. And it kind of is really, really important in the early game, in my opinion. The hornblower is also extremely important. The hut you can kind of move around with, just brute forcing the number of tents. But the hornblower just can wait a little longer. We'll try and balance this. We might cut it close depending on how fast Onbu gets hungry and if we find an Onbu feed spot on the way. Yeah, see, you can see here on the map, we now have nomads that they will get picked up and added to our settlement once we get there, which is pretty exciting. That also means we're going to need some more tents in the future, so we'll have to bear that in mind as we continue to walk. So I am going to go ahead and actually drop a couple of them in. All right, so now that those are dropped in, we should be up and running now. We've got our berry gatherers over here collecting berries. We do have our research building, our second... did I add a second research building? I guess I did. That's not exactly what I wanted to build. Let's go ahead and cancel that actually and just save the materials because I don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we don't have a lot of materials to work with. So right now we're just kind of rocking and rolling. To go back to what I was saying, I love the art style of this game. The nomads are so beautiful. They just have the cool little cloak thing going on, and then you can see if they have different jobs, they change outfits. That's a researcher, and then I believe the other one is a farmer, perhaps? I believe so. Yeah, farmer. There we go. And then the generalists are the ones who look like the standard nomad, and I think it's really cool. I'm a really big fan of it. And Onbu, of course, looks amazing. He's very earthy, very leggy. He's a leggy boy, that's for sure. So we should be rocking and rolling here. We're pretty much at a point now where we can go ahead and just turbo fast forward because there's not a lot we can do at this moment. We got to get our research going first, which maybe I shouldn't have destroyed that research building, but that's all right. We do have our pantry here. As soon as we get our kitchens unlocked, I'm going to put that down over here next to the other guy, and then we should be good to go. It may be worth adding a second research building just to keep things flowing, but I think for now we're going to be all right. So the next thing we can go ahead and do is start getting some more wood gathered up because we are going to need it in the near future. So let's go ahead and start doing some of that. That way we don't run into a situation like I always do in my Going Medieval series where I don't have enough materials and I get to just sit and watch while we wait for enough materials to be pulled in. All right, so I think we unlocked our kitchen. Next thing we're gonna do is our hornblower because I stress the importance of being able to at least try and tell Onbu where to go. We are gonna put our kitchen next to our pantry. The pantry is where they store food specifically, and then currently material storage is all we have available to us for pretty much everything else. In the future, we'll be able to unlock a warehouse, which you can see here. And that's on the hut research tree, which we won't get into just yet. I do need to select a new topic to research. I do think that for now, or we're researching our hornblower. Never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking. We'll probably go for maybe for the Onbu kitchen next, or maybe the Scavenger Hut. It's really important also to get to the Sawmill and quarry because those unlock your ability to get into the bigger resource materials, which are pretty important because you do run out pretty quickly. I've only done one run on the demo, and I don't know if I've mentioned, but this is a demo version, so it's only lets you play for 35 days in-game, and then it's over. But it's pretty gratuitous because I played for about an hour on my last run and I got to like 20 something. So I do think if you have it in turbo fast forward mode all the time, it's going to go a lot faster than that. So we do have pretty good wood and stone reserves, and we also have a fair amount of water now that we're actually in a different environment, especially the jungle, because I think the jungle is humid. Yep, so you can see here what I was talking about. Now that it's humid, it's up to 150 production speed instead of 0. So we do have some more villagers that joined. We've got 21 total. Let's check our housing. I think we don't have enough housing. Let's check real quick. So we know that's 8. So we only have 20 and we need 21. So we should go ahead and put in another tent. Get some people working since they're all kind of just standing around. And then we can go ahead and, since we have this nice infusion of new people, drop in our mycologist. And all they're going to do is grow mushrooms. We'll just push them out to over here. Maybe I want them down here. I'm trying not to get, I don't want to get in the way of these boulders just because they are going to come into play later. Let's just put it over here. Here is good for now. All right, so we have unlocked our next phase. We should be able to choose another thing to research. So I'm thinking that we should go for the Onbu kitchen because we need to be able to feed Onbu as soon as we can. His hunger will sneak up on you. I will tell you that just from experience. I tried to put it off last time and I ended up in a situation where I really needed him to go ahead and eat. So, yeah. So for the kitchen, we actually need wood plank and stone slab. For us to be able to do that, we need to build a stone cutter and a carpenter. And all they're going to do for us is they're going to supply. I'm going to make a breakaway over here like this. And this, they can take your base material, which is wood and stone, and they can turn it into stone slabs and wood planks. So those are important. They are a more advanced building material, and as you can see, are involved in our kitchen. And I think that's the only thing so far that we know of. So Onbu is laying down to take a nap. There he goes. And you can see here it's because his Onbu sleepiness is really high. Luckily, we're in the middle of the jungle still, and he didn't cross over to the next desert. That's very lucky. With the hornblower, you'll be able to learn how to ask him to go to sleep. That way, if you're about to enter into an area where you don't really want to chance him falling asleep on his own, you can get him squared away before you wander in. But we don't have that ability right now, so we're relying on Onbu to not put us into a tricky situation. So hopefully that continues to go well. We do have our carpenter up, so we can start turning wood into wood plank, which is great. We are going to have to start harvesting some more wood. One trick of this game is that you don't actually order the number of wood. As far as I can tell, you only apply workers to it. So if you ever run into a situation where you're consuming all of your wood by creating planks, but you still need wood, you're just going to have to disable the carpenters so they don't consume it, or outproduce the carpenter's ability to, destroy the wood or turn it into wood planks. We've done another research objective here. Let's go ahead and grab our Onbu feeding trebuchet. And we are going to check out our mycologist. We need to build our little mushroom field. We'll just start with something like that for now. We don't need a ton of mushrooms. It takes a fair amount to turn into the Onbu feeding station. But for the time being, we don't need to worry about it too much. I just want to start building up a backlog. That way we have the opportunity to feed Onbu down the line. I'm going to check in on everything else and see how it's going, and then we should be able to keep moving forward. All right, so things are running well. I did go ahead and add another farmer. I find that adding 3 farmers really helps, because if not, they just don't quite make it to these outer reaches, at least not efficiently. So looks like Onbu's waking up. He had a little snack, ate some of these mushrooms over here, which is good. Oh, it's an Onbu feeding spot that we landed on. That's great. So he will automatically eat there. We don't have to feed him ourselves, but as you can see, it only took out a little bit of his hunger, so we still want to push forward on being able to feed Onbu. It looks like we need more stone. That seems to be our core issue right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take out a swath of stone over here, and should be able to consume these pretty quickly. And then for our next research, we should be good. So I'm thinking that we should go ahead and get the hut. That way we can start moving on to the quarry and sawmill, because they're extremely useful. We'll grab the scavenger hut at some point in the process, because that does allow us to send out exploration groups so that they can find resources for us, which is pretty helpful. But for the time being, we're going to stick with the hut. Also, these guys are not very space conserving. The hut, I believe, is 2x2. and these are 2x1, but the hut will accommodate 6 settlers. So it just makes more sense from a time, or from a square footage perspective, because as you can see, we do have a limit on how much we can build, so we want to make the most of it that we can. All right, so we do have our carpenter and our stone cutter up, so we should be able to start making some progress on the kitchen, which is good. That means we can start using better quality food for everybody. We do have our horn blower up. Let's go ahead and connect them up to the path. They kind of don't always use the path. It seems to be more either I'm not doing it right, or they're designed to maybe already take a pre-designated path, and then if you happen to build the path there, they'll take that. I'm not really sure what the deal is. Might be something they'll work on. You know, again, it is a demo. It's really impressive that they have this much content in the demo alone, in my opinion. I kind of like the idea of the day 35 concept, where you can only play up to a certain point, and they probably expect that players can only get so much done in a certain amount of time, and then we'll go from there. We're gonna go ahead and drop in, just square this off a little bit. I wanna make sure that we kind of block off some of these guys so that we have a baseway road network. That way we can try and be as efficient as possible. Let's go ahead and grab the Scavenger Hut. I think we can dive into the quarry and Sawmill here in a little bit, but I do want to grab the Scavenger Hut and then maybe the sleep command after that. That's going to be pretty useful to be able to stop Onbu from going too far ahead. So we do have the horn blower. We can tell him to go south. We'll see if he actually listens to us since we're right here. Oh, it's shiny. Fine sand. Very cool. So we'll see if he turns. He did. Very cool. Good boy, Onbu. I'm glad he listened. So now that we have the hut available, I do want to build a couple of those just to fill out some of our needs here, because we are, if you check the map, about to pick up some more nomads. So I think it's important that we go ahead and grab the hut. Yep, you picked up a group of nomads who now joined your village. Many are poisoned and will die soon. Well, unfortunately, I didn't focus on building a doctor, and it's just part of it. Unfortunately, they are going to die. It's a risk I'm willing to take, because you can't get everything done, unfortunately, in the amount of time you have. So we're kind of picking and choosing some of the things that we can do as best we can. We are out of water, which there's not a lot we can do about that until we're out. Luckily, we're heading to a jungle, so that was a pretty good pick. Hopefully we can get into the jungle sooner rather than later and get our water going again, as well as our food, because we're kind of scraping by on food. So the next thing I want to do, let's go ahead and upgrade to let's get the warehouse going. I think that's probably a good idea. I was gonna do the wheat, but I think that my last run I got really close to running out of resources, and so I'm kind of a little terrified of that, of running out of wood and stone, because at that point you're down to just RNG and how much it'll give you per day, and I don't really want to find myself in that kind of situation. So we're just gonna have to push through. So hopefully our food keeps up. It looks like we're not really doing a great job on food, so let's see what we could do better. So I think our berry gathering hut isn't all that efficient. I'm wondering if we put it up somewhere like here. Let's take a look at that real quick. I actually need the center berry gatherer. If I plugged it like right there, yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, we could always just add a second one, or we can add more farmland, though again, there's only so much these guys can do in terms of how much farming they can accomplish. So what we might end up doing is kind of just tucking this one over here. We'll try to line this up like that, and then we'll just build another farm altogether. That should help us out a little bit. Just keep the food supplies up, because ideally we can get more food going. Of course, this still isn't done, and I think it's because we're out of wood. So I need to have them tear out some more trees. We're gonna take out some of these berry bushes over here as well, but that's all right. We've got plenty laying around everywhere, so we don't need to worry about that so much. I'm gonna let them go ahead and get that done, and then hopefully we'll be able to get our kitchen going today, and then we can keep pushing forward. All right, so our new farm is up. I managed to not really line this up, but that's okay, I guess. It's not going to be symmetrical, but, you know, we'll work with it. I'm not really sure how I managed that, but at least we have some more food supply up. That's really all that matters at the end of the day. So I do see that the kitchen is on its way. I also went ahead and unlocked or started working on the sleep command just so that we have a little more control over Onbu. I think that will be extremely helpful here in the future. And then we should be able to grab the quarry next. And I actually think maybe we should do the sawmill. It doesn't really matter either way. We do have plenty of rock and we have plenty of wood still available to us, so I think we're doing pretty well on that front, but it's probably worth at least trying. So it does look like our material storage is full of mushrooms at least, and each item has its own, you know, slot, so it's not gonna, you know, prohibit the ability to collect other things, but I do want to go ahead and look at the warehouse. It is going to be a little pricier. That's okay. It's worth it. And I think, you know, it stores 150 of each, which gives us a lot more cushion than we currently have. Onbu's about to lay down for a little nap. And the other thing that we can go ahead and build is our Onbu feeding trebuchet, which we can tuck right behind the hornblower. That's going to be important for us in the future as well. We're going to let them get this done. Currently, this is just sitting because we don't have any room for anything else. We do need wood plank. And I think we're out of wood again, so let's go ahead and take another couple of trees down. Hopefully we'll be able to get going on the sawmill pretty quick. And then we should see some progress here. I do want to go ahead and get the trebuchet prioritized currently, because I think that's a good idea. Actually, we need the kitchen first before we do the trebuchet, so let me switch that down a stage. And then we should be able to get the Onbu kitchen going a little faster. And we're just gonna have to keep an eye on wood because we're gonna need a fair amount of it. We'll go ahead and grab a few of those. And then what I could do is pop into the carpenter and add a second worker. And that should speed up the ability to process all of the wood into planks. And that should speed up our down line, I guess might be the way to put it, to let us expedite the construction of the Onbu kitchen. That way we can start making food for Onbu. But we are also going to need this done, so hopefully that gets prioritized appropriately once the Onbu kitchen is done. So we do have another thing to unlock here, and I think we're going to want to go ahead and do the village doctor. And I say that because we're about to walk through a pollen storm. I'm hoping that maybe I can convince Onbu to lay down and take a little nap. Let's see if we can get him to sleep. Oh, I think he's listening. Perfect timing. You can see the poison right there. So he's not quite in the poison yet. So the goal here is I'm going to try and get him to sleep and then see if I can talk him into running through it, which should make this a little faster. So there's kind of a micro macro aspect to this game, right? Because you have to keep an eye on the map, which admittedly I don't do very well, while we're also trying to manage our settlement and make sure that the people that live on Onbu's back are being cared for. So it's really a balancing job, and it's challenging to say the least, but it is a blast, and I love this game so far. I think it's been really fun, and I'm glad that, you know, they offered us a demo. I actually saw this on some sort of crowdfunding startup site. I can't recall if it was, well, anyway, I saw it a while back and I was like, man, that game looks really cool. So it's really awesome that we finally have the opportunity to play it. I think it's supposed to launch later this year, but I am very much looking forward to it. So I guess our boy is up and ready to get up. So let's see if I can get him to run. I guess that's running for him. Hopefully we can make it through this poison cloud easily. He's not the fastest of boys, but we are making it through. I think that's just a small one, yeah. Well, at least we got him going a little bit. Temporarily increases toxicity. So we are gonna build a decontaminator because, let's see if we have any examples here. Not sure if any poison infected us. Yep, there it is. So you can see here, these are poison trees. The infection will spread and ruin different areas. So we need to get a decontaminator going as soon as possible. Onbu's stopping to eat, which is good. We have our trebuchet ready and we have food being produced. So the only thing left is for them to move the food over to the feeding trebuchet, and then we can give Onbu a little snack. All right, and this is gonna be where we end it. So let's launch. Here he goes. What a good boy. He caught it. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's episode. We do have a number of days left, so if you guys want me to play it again, let me know, assuming the demo is still live and they let us play it. But I really enjoy this game. It's super cool. I think the art direction's amazing. The art style's awesome, so be sure to check it out in the Steam store. Hopefully it's still up when you guys see this video and they haven't taken it down yet, but if they have, then you know, hopefully you'll remember it in a few months when it comes out. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please consider liking, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, thank you very much for your support, and please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified when I release new videos. So that is gonna do it for today. This was Games Over Explained, playing The Wandering Village, and we'll see you next time.